You will drown in eternal night.
Hi guys, welcome back to the channel and to another Mortal Kombat mobile character review. Today we are taking a closer look at Aftershock Tremor, and we will go through all of his special attacks, his basics, his X-ray and his passive, so get ready. Aftershock Tremor is part of the martial artist class and his passive is called Weakest Link. Each time Aftershock Tremor tags in, the weakest enemy tags in and is stunned. Martial artists on the team have a chance of unblockable attacks against Netherrealm. Aftershock Tremor started his career in MK Mobile already in the MKX Mobile days and was added with update 1.14. After he was available with his early access pack, he directly became a challenge character. He was maxed out with level 50 and Fusion 7. Also his passive pretty much stayed the same. In the old store he was available for 430 souls, but of course he's also a part of the challenge pack, the Stunning Criminals pack, the Elder Challenge Booster and several others, and you can even buy him now in the new store for 450 souls. After the level cap was raised with update 1.18, he was maxed out with level 60 and Fusion X. Tremor's gearpiece is the Earth Elemental face mask and it gives you 30% resistance to all debuffs, 20% chance to convert 50% damage to health on special attack 1 and 20% power generation boost. In terms of his feats of strength, he will have to knock out 1000 enemies to unlock his rune. For his victory stances he has to win 750 matches in faction wars. For his taunts he has to win 500 matches in battle mode. For his icons, he will have to win 200 matches in challenge mode. For the backgrounds, he has to knock out 500 scorpion enemies. And for the titles, he has to perform 3000 combo enders. And now we are taking a closer look at the victory stances one by one. And we are starting with Malice. Next up would be Gun Show. His third one is called Earthquake. And exclusive for Aftershock Tremor only, Horse Stance. And on your victory screen it will look like this. Now I'm going to show you all of his backgrounds. Next up we have the icons. And finally the titles. Tremor has a tag in attack which deals a little bit of damage and stuns the opponent in the process. It is even capable of knocking out your opponent. Aftershock Tremor has two kinds of combo enders. The first one is an overhead where he bashes the head of his opponent in with a rock, knocking the opponent down to the ground. The second one is a rock assistance as well, just that he pushes the opponent farther back, but also knocking him off his feet. Fortunately for Tremor, it is very easy to chain his basic attacks and combo enders. His special 1 attack is called Ground Quake and it has merely a damage effect tied to it. In combination with his gear piece, the Earth Elemental Face Mask, he will also be able to regain a little bit of health by special attack 1 use. Also noteworthy is that this attack is capable of knocking out your opponents. His special 2 attack is called Stone Slam, and just as the special one, it also has just a damage effect tied to it. The important thing here to know is that it is partially unblockable, so in other words, the second part of this special 2 becomes unblockable regardless if the opponent blocks your initial attack or not. And on top, this attack is also capable of knocking out your opponent. His X-Ray is called Rock Bottom and it has a shield effect tied to it, which is one of the most useful buffs in MK Mobile. Aside from that, all the X-Ray animations of the 2 Tremor characters that we have currently in the game are identical, even though the diamond version works with a little bit extra color scheme. His passive Weakest Link is actually a lot of fun and sometimes is even the architect of very funny situations in the game. Although there is like one important thing also to know is that if you directly tag Tremor in after the opponent tagged, then this passive mostly doesn't work at all. As you can see here, the moment I am tagging Tremor in, he should pull back in Chinook, but it doesn't. So now it's time to recommend some gear again, and my first choice would be the Wrath Hammer. That gives 20% attack boost to Tremor, and of course also a bar of power to begin with. My second choice would be the Shirai Ryu Kunai, simply because this gear piece will add extra damage on stunned opponents, which makes sense if you give it to Tremor, so he can make use of this gear piece right after his tag-in. Since Tremor relies heavily on basic attacks, the Rusty Chainsaw is a very obvious choice, and besides from breaking the block on basic attacks, it will also cut your power cost of Special 2 in half. In case you decided to play him with the Wrath Hammer or the Kunai, then you shouldn't miss out on the Vial of Infinite Blood, which gives you the chance to apply bleed on combo enders and is also the only accessory right now in the game that adds a block breaker to your basic attacks. But the winner in my book, and in my opinion the best gear piece for Tremor, is his Earth Elemental Face Mask, granting him 30% resistance to all debuffs, which can be amplified with another 20% by the talent tree. On top, it enables him to regain health on special attack 1 use, and on top of that you also get 20% power generation boost. My personal favorite loadout for Aftershock Tremor is of course going with his Earth Elemental Face Mask, adding the T800 Endoskeleton for more health and also cutting power costs of Special 2s in half, and then adding the Bladed Fan for the block breaker and an additional percentage of regaining health on Special Attack 1 use. In terms of character recommendations, I would first go with Shaolin Kung Jin, granting a bar of power to all martial artist teammates. Second, I would maybe go for something funny like Leatherface, or Nightmare Leatherface to be precise, because when you are stunning the opponent with his tag and attack, then Leatherface has the chance to come from behind, assisting with his chainsaw, dealing some extra damage, and it's quite a lot of fun to watch. To amplify Tremor's attack a little bit, you could go for Ninjutsu Scorpion, or you can also go with Cryomancer Sub-Zero for some extra health. The choice is up to you, but the winner in my book and my absolute number one to play together with Aftershock Tremor is Hellspawn Scorpion, granting 1.5 bars of power to martial artist teammates. And besides having someone like Hellspawn Scorpion in your team, then you already have a really worthy fighter that can assist Tremor in many different situations. With also a block breaker on Special 2, you can add the Fire DOT. This should be a lot of fun. Aftershock Tremor is a pretty amazing character that can guarantee for a lot of very interesting and funny matches sometimes, depending on who he pulls in or just pulls in to knock them out, which also happens quite a lot when you're playing Aftershock Tremor. The only downside really might actually be that you are not really able to control who you are pulling in sometimes, especially at match begin. It all relies on chance. And to make Aftershock Tremor incredible, it would just be fun if we could select the character that we want to pull in for some extra strategic gameplay by simply clicking on the opponent's icon who we want to see tagging in, so that the weakest link actually would become a link of choice. Tremor's basic attacks might be a little bit slow, but if you are getting the timing right, you can actually make pretty good chaining combinations and leading into special attacks with Tremor. So if you are a little more on the experienced side with this character, you should not really face that much of an issue in terms of gameplay. Also, one thing I would like to add, my favorite victory stance is actually the Earthquake, especially when you combine that also with his taunts, just saying Earthquake. So now it's time for the pros and cons again, and my first pro would be the stun on tag-in. It makes it so much easier if you are able to attack your opponent without him having the chance to hit you back right away, because as I said, sometimes he's a little bit on the slower side, and this way you can directly choose if you want to go for basic attacks or use an unblocked special attack, even if it's a special one. My second pro would be the unblockable Special 2, or maybe I should better say the partly unblockable Special 2, because the first part of this attack can still be blocked by the opponent, but the one that matters will turn into unblockable, and the damage output of exactly that second part is often enough to erase your opponent. My third pro is the shield on Special Attack 3, which makes it so amazing if you are able to use that special attack or that X-ray in just the right moment, so you can absorb the incoming damage from probably the next character, and that can even be an X-ray, but be very aware here that his passive makes this actually way more difficult than, for example, with the Black Dragon Tremor variation, because sometimes you are just pulling an opponent in you don't even want to have in this match right now. But we also have a few cons, and my biggest con is actually the slow basic attacks, even though his chaining is quite good, but against fast characters he can easily be interrupted during his basic attacks, and losing Tremor due to that is always very frustrating. My second con would be that this character often is pretty much bugged. In several updates we have some problems with his passive, at least I think it has to do with this passive, that Tremor never really works as intended, and it always is very frustrating if you are really a fan of Tremor, and then just because they changed something in an update, then suddenly Tremor doesn't work as he should. That is a test of patience for every Tremor fan. My third and final con would be that his passive doesn't always work properly. For example, as I already demonstrated, like when you directly tagging Tremor in after the opponent just tagged in a new character, then his passive is completely non-existent, and even like during normal matches I sometimes feel that he just pulls in who he sees fit without actually having this weakest link as a main priority as it should be. But now it is time for the final rating, and I will give this Gold Challenge character an 8 out of 10. I enjoy Aftershock Tremor actually a lot, and to be absolutely honest, I even enjoy the gold variation of Tremor much more than the diamond, and I even think that the gold Aftershock Tremor is superior to Black Dragon Tremor. But yeah, that was Aftershock Tremor in a nutshell, and I really hope that you enjoyed this review. But how about you guys? What is your take on Aftershock Tremor? Do you like him? Do you hate him? What is your most favorite memory when it comes down to playing Aftershock Tremor? Old or new, that doesn't matter. Just leave it in the comments below. Thank you for tuning in once again, and as usual, I will be back with the next video very soon. Until then, you can choose one of the two videos that are up here right now. Please like, comment and subscribe. And also don't forget to click the bell notification icon so you will be informed every time when I upload a new video. Take care, Casey over and out for today.